You don't know the power of the dark side.
Welcome to Star Wars Chatter, hosted by ANDOR Van Zark. Now you're listening to Power. The information on this podcast is my opinion and some internet research. Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Chatter. I'm ANDOR Van Zark, and this is your safe space to discuss Star Wars and music. So if you want to catch the show live on air, you can catch it on AMP. So before we get into the season finale of Star Wars Andor, which I really loved, let's listen to the word of our sponsor. The sponsor of my stream and podcast is DistroKid. If you want 7% off on your first subscription with DistroKid, release your music to the world on every major music platform. Make sure to go to my website, andrewvanzark.com, and click on the discount link under the tab of DistroKid. You can dive into the Star Wars Andor Season Finale of Season 1. The episode was called Rick's Road. So, before we get into details, let's cue that spoiler alert. This is a spoiler warning.
Well, I didn't see that coming.
If you don't like spoilers, make sure to tune out.
Please hang up and try again.
But if you know what we're talking about, make sure to leave me a message on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or tune into my next live show at twitch.tv/AndorVanZark and leave me a message there on the chat. So let's get started and listen at your own risk. Well, I'm ANDOR Van Zark here, and these are my opinions. And let's get it diving in. So ANDOR Season 1 Finale, Rick's Road, capped off a journey taken by many, not just one. In a perfect hour television show, Diego Luna solidifies Cassian as one of the most important characters in the canon, retroactively at that. And Lucas' series, led by Tony Guillory, provided it simply operating on a level that's unmatched in expanding what it really means to be a Star Wars show. It's going to be a long wait until Season 2, unfortunate. So, let's dive in. So I've watched the season finale, and I can say that it was extremely interesting to say the least. So this was directed by Benjamin Caron and written by Guillory 2 times so far, and it's still stunned real good. Everything kicks off with the tuning of musical instruments, like if a marching band or orchestra is getting ready to perform. You get hints of wind and the slow and steady beating of drums. It is preamble, and we get some quick-fire dialogues in which local Phyrexian Sangwan tells Andor's longtime friend Brasso he talked to Cassian in the common box and told him about Marva, Andor. So, knowing Cassian, Brasso figures he's on the way back to Ferrix and voices that he may try to show up at the funeral, something that another local overhears. Sanwan is concerned for his friend. You can tell his mind is fixing up a plan. And it's great to see more of the character beyond just catching Andor up on what he's missed. So Brasso has been helping to look out after Andor's mother whenever Cassian was off on missions. So he was in a way one of Marva's kids, and such would be the one who led the procession with the Sisters of Ferrix. Here, Varla performances really let us in to how important Marva was with everyone. So they're all getting ready to her funeral, including Salman Pak's son, who looks to be prepping a space Molotov cocktail. Ah, yes. The youth know what's going down and are ready to use any resources available to learn how to fight back. So, Miro gets front row seats to her own plan of bringing Andor out of the shadows. Or so she hopes, because it doesn't really go as planned. So she gets escorted around Ferrix in a red hood, which she thinks is totally inconspicuous, as Cinta, follows her. This spy moment is so good, and throughout the whole show and this series, within the last episode of the Season 1, I was like, what is Cinta up to? That is really interesting. So It shows that Cinta has been getting shit done, while Val was off on Coruscant trying to ask for more from Clea. Definitely the first fuck yeah moment of the finale was Mon throwing her husband under the bus to throw off the Empire sent Loris, her spy driver, and overhears her grill pairing about his gambling problems as she sets him up to throw him under the Frightener, accusing him of lying about his expensive addiction. So love to O'Reilly's delivery of the dialogue here to cover on Mon's own money moves. And the sight of Coruscant sizzling by night as Mon becomes who she's meant to be? Yes, Mon uses the ungrateful family as a shield. So back on Ferrix, Cinta tells Vel about Dedra's arrival. Vel realizes they have to take out Andor first before he's captured and puts everyone at risk. Come on, he's their old pal Clem. What happened to solidarity? You know? I really hope that this episode we get to see his Aldani crew begin to question killing him. But Vel appears to be more about following Clea and Luthen's orders. Cinta is playing on a different field, one that's more in tune with what's bubbling to the surface on Ferrix. Seeing Situ play Cinta's subtypes in regards to being with the people of Ferrix showcases that the rebellion is a universal language. Hopefully, she'll have a more prominent role next season. Andor recalls a memory of his adopted father, the original Clem, who taught him to scavenge things with worth at an early age. It's a pivotal scene that really breaks down who Andor is and highlights how much of a masterpiece the show is. Clem's line, quoting here, "The man who sees everything is more blessed than cursed," really brings it home. It's Andor's main MO to keep his eyes open to the possibilities everywhere that no one else notices beyond the rust of things around them. This is how you see what's going on, and nature the acute awareness that has made Andor a crafty son of a gun. Personally, this was my favorite moment of the episode. So all of this is highlighted by Nemec's voice, coming from his manifesto, which Andor definitely is being absorbing. His line echoes, and honestly, at this point, we're all in. Quoting here, "Freedom is a pure idea." He starts off and reads the Empires for filth by describing oppression as the mask of fear that requires constant effort, whereas the rebellion will continuously thrive of the power of the people. Every little insurrection against tyranny will push their lines forward. So as Miro doles out orders, she instructs her goons to handle the mourners, led by Daughters of Ferrix, but without snipers. They need Andors taken alive, something that seems to make her men restless as they'd rather do things differently. No united front, even down to the events of Stargard, which happens off camera, by the way, when her request to take in someone alive for questioning was ignored. Blevin and the rest of the ISB take behind her back as she pushes back on the decision to Ortegas, telling him you get nothing from a dead body. However, he explains that it was just about whipping Aldani's taste of the Emperor's mouth. Dedra's make or break moment on Ferrix is at play. She instructs her men to bring Andor in alive. I repeat myself, alive, which is pretty interesting, you know? Because to take Casey and Andor on your own hands and get them on your own control, it's pretty difficult. Even Luthen says something about that you play a hard game. It is a thing to keep in mind. So a spy watches Marva's house, and there's no Andor in sight. He's in the tunnel sewage system and meets Brasso, who delivers Marva's heartfelt message from one son to another. None of this is his fault. It was already burning. He was just the first spark of the fire. and reassures him that he knows everything he needs to know, having faith that when the day comes, it will be unstoppable force for good. Followed by this gut punch. I love him more than anything he could ever do wrong. We're crying for Andor's loss in quiet. Powerful moment that helps him realize what he has to do, and really emotional to say the least. But first, he needs to rescue Biggs from the Hotel of Hell. Vel finally gets her moment to talk to Luthen. He gets words that Dedra is on his tail through Andor, so they need to get to him and kill him before he's captured. Then, the anvil clangs. It stops everyone in their track as the procession begins, and even good old Cyril is on hand to see if Cassian shows. The anvil clangs again, and as the procession begins, the hotel empties to make a perimeter around the people of Ferrix. Fear always gets the best of them. A harrowing funeral dirge begins that serves as the brilliant score for the episode, amplifying every single moment. Everyone takes their place. What's wild is that Cyril and Luthen stand near one another, and he overhears Karn's enthusiasm as seeing Dedra, which unknowingly to him gives her away to Axis. This time, Rappler highlights the impact of the moment with his anvil. Andor sneaks into hotel. By this point, only the kitchen staff is there. The Neils continue along with the procession, carrying Marva's stone. Their chant stone and sky is Cathartic's unition, which Biggs can hear in her prison. It's a beautiful moment played by Arjonas as her people send her the energy she needs to get up again out of the days of torture. Marva gets her moment on Rick's Road, projected by her faithful B2MO. She delivers her final message to her people. She thanks them for honoring her in her final days by laying her stone to become a part of the foundations of Ferrix, explaining that the dead would lift her to inspire her to be part of something more, to do something as the Empire began to grow. She remarks that she wants Ferrix to go on, but that it will require them to wake up. For too long they've been asleep, turning on the other way to let the Empire do their thing, so they'd be left alone. But really, they only been letting the wound in the center of the galaxy fester and letting the darkness pass over them until there wasn't visiting anyone. The pulse of the moment is palpable. The energy within the people of Ferrix starts building as if something was about to come up and carry them, versus the growing fear among the Imperial's presence. And then she says this: "The Empire is a disease, and never more alive than when we're sleeping." Sean's performance is masterful, as Marva makes her powerful last stand, even as she says it might be easy for her to ask since she's dead. She announces in an all-timer Star Wars send-off, "If I could do it again, I'd wake up early and be fighting these bastards from the start. Fight the Empire!" The moment that an officer strikes B2MO to stop the transmission, the people rise to meet the first blow. Yes, B is one of them, and we throw hands for him and Marva too. As the unrest grows and Andor finds Bix, who says she's seen him come from her before, that Marva was just here. Andor, as he helps his friend, tells her, "Wasn't she great?" We're a puddle of tears at this point as they make their way out of the hotel as the Imperial's perimeter closes on in the people. The bell tower strikes again. And this scene's over here with Biggs and Andor when they're trying to get away back to safety. It was extremely tense and emotional, to say the least. Solomon Pack's son has had enough, and invoking the strengths of revolutionary youth, throw his bomb at the Imperial troops, which sets off an explosion in all-out battle. People clamor and fight as the Empire opens fire on civilians. Even Brasso uses Marva's bricks to help her get her licks in. The anvil clangs again, and a stormtrooper is sent to take out the time grappler too. Much happens all at once. Luthen, who was moved by Marva's speech, watches the people who have been inspired by her family to mobilize and fight back. Cinta, who has been on their page all along, straight up murders the spy that has been watching Marva's every move. Meanwhile, Dedra shoots blindly at the crowd, all her around her, and her little caps falls off in the chaos and rebellion. That made me giggle as she fell around and was grabbed by the people of Perc and going left and right, bing boom bang, trutum bang, ching kum bang, and I was like, ha, she's getting really fucked up. You fucked up, Dedra. What you gonna do now? Huh? Come on. That moment is followed by the stormtrooper making it up the Anvil Tower and then immediately getting kicked off it by the time grappler, which made me laugh out loud and say, what are stormtroopers for? They're so useless, and they've been shown to be useless since the beginning of time. You know? So hands down to the best stormtrooper's death. Allies, our main enemies, live to see another day as Cyril saves Dedra. His romantic stalker, Axe, is perhaps finally working on her as she tells him. I just say thank you, says Dedra. And then Cyril responds with, you don't have to. So this is twisted relationship pulls a solo moment, and it's so wrong, yet somehow so right. Goth and Solar nail this real messed up chemistry, and I'm like, come on, just hook up already, or kiss or something, or hug, or be friendly with each other. But it's too much with the tension. I can't even. So Brasso, Kit Pack, and B2MO are loaded up on a ship by the Sisters of Perc. And as if fate steps in, B sees Andor as he brings Biggs to them. Their reunion gives B a great goodbye for now, as he tells Andor he never sticks around for him. It's so sad to see the bestest droid heartbroken. B2MO, for me, is one lovable droid that why wouldn't Andor stick around? But I know that Andor has some stuff around his sleeves and on his little hands to get dirty on. So as Andor promises, he'll be back for them. Because of course, he's not going with them. Biggs reassures B, he will always come back. He better see them in Season 2. Everything falls into place as the episode closes out with Mon and Perrin introducing Leda to Davon, Scoldon's son. Leda's not complaining as she's being used for something she cares about, appearances, which will serve her mother well. The episode ends on Andor turning himself into Luthen, giving him the option to kill him. Then and there, on his ship, Luna instantly becomes one of the greatest heroes in the canon, uttering the words, "Kill me or take me in." Complete chills, to say the least, you know? And the way that Luthen and Andor just stare at each other at that moment, it's just, oh my god. You had to clap and say, fuck yeah. So what a show. What an epic continuation of stories. We love being relevant and impactful to the times we live in. Viva los rebeldes! Viva Andor! And live, long prosper the people of Star Wars. Down the bastards of the Empire and prosper. Let's go. So after we see the whole episode and we see the credits roll in, we see an after credits, which most of us are not expecting because Star Wars is not really a after credits kind of thing. That's more Marvel and DC and all those superhero stuff. But when we see that after credit scene, we see that the Death Star was being built with some little tiny nano droids, and we see the pieces that were being built on Narkina 5. And I was like, I knew it. That was for the Death Star. I knew it all along. It makes sense now. So I knew they were building up something for the Death Star, or for the Empire's, way of destruction or something, So I had that feeling all along, so I'm glad that my guts were right. But anyways, thank you for listening. This was Star Wars Chatter. Hope you had a great time listening to me. And honestly, Star Star Wars Andor is by far one of the greatest things that Disney Plus has to offer with Star Wars, other than Mandalorian. I'm just gonna throw it in there. And I'm talking about live action, because every single animation from Star Wars, Clone Wars, Bad Batch, and Tales of the Jedi, and Rebels, all of them are superb, to say the least, you know? So keep that in mind. It's all good. And like I said, Viva los rebeldes! Viva Andor! Let's go! Roll that outro. May the force be with you, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Adios, amigos. Let's go. This was the Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andor Van Zark. If you have any thoughts or any messages that you want to leave me, go check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or my website, www.andorvansart.com. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Sayonara. When you listen to Andor Van Zark, you listen with power. Now, you're listening with power. Andor Van Zark. Stream on every major music platform. Power to the music.